Hello, it's Farah coming to you this evening to give you the intro of this video. A couple videos back, I did something where I wrapped a bunch of books, I put numbers on them, I used a random number generator, and I picked them blindly, or randomly. I decided I want to do a reading vlog of that because what's the point of doing a random generator if I don't show you me reading them as proof that I have read these books that I picked. And I also just like reading vlogs. I like telling you my thoughts about books while I'm reading them, while it's like fresh in my head. I feel like the fresh thoughts after reading a book are some of the most interesting ones because it's when I usually feel most passionately about it. If you're new to my channel, hi. Nice to see you. Okay, just to go over the 4 books that I'm reading in this video. One of the books was The Simple Wild. It's a small town romance. Another one of the books, oh god, okay. The next one is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Another one of the books that I chose is Water Under the Bridge. Another romance. I chose a lot of romance books, actually. I chose all romance books, and I had a mix in there. Like, I had a good amount of fantasy books in there, but the random generator said, Farah, you're just gonna be reading romance, okay? The final book that I chose is Restore Me, and this is a dead husband's best friend romance. That's not a trope, but that's basically the setup in this story. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into me reacting to these books. I have finished The Simple Wild. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and the ending made me want to read the second one. I felt like the narrator did such a good job. It made me very much in the mood to read a small town romance. The ending had me tearing up for sure. She goes to Alaska because she gets a call that her dad, who had like barely ever talked to her, she finds out that he has cancer, so she goes back to Alaska. Then she ends up meeting one of his pilots because he owns like this plane company. His name's Jonah, and that ends up being the love interest, and they're very cute together and it's adorable. It's seriously so fun to read. Like, it was just a great read. It was also very heartwarming and bittersweet a lot of the times because it was just really sad sometimes. You guys, I have exciting news. It's like December 9th right now. Well, it's like 12 something, so it's actually December 11th. No, 10th. But I was trying to get Restore Me on Audible, and I was like, darn, they don't have it yet. But it's literally being released on December 13th. So that's perfect timing, and I'm just gonna pre-order it and then read it then. Hey, so I want to do a little reading update because I haven't revisited this vlog in a little while, but I did read and finish the One True Loves book. I wrote some things in my notes because it's been a little bit since like a couple of days since I read it. I did write in my notes my thoughts. I'll just start off by saying though that book was a journey. The main girl in it, which I forgot her name, I never remember characters' names usually I have to look them up, but I don't even have the book with me because I think I lost it. I don't know where it went, but I actually listened to it on audiobook. I just recommend the audiobook if you are having a hard time like just sitting down and reading, then I recommend the audiobook. But I feel like the dudes' voices in the audiobook, like, I don't know, like I just didn't really like them that much. It makes me like not like the characters as much, depending on who is narrating it. Other than the guys' voices though, they did a really good job. Okay, so this next part I'm gonna say is gonna be in the spoiler part of the video, so just I'm gonna put this at the end. It's gonna be at the end of the video because I really want to say it, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone. If I hadn't have been doing the video concept of picking books blindly, I wouldn't have read that yet, so it's kind of cool that I did. I feel really good about that. Next up, I'm going to be reading Water Under the Bridge, but I also have the audiobook of Restore Me. It's so cold. Hey, I made some progress with the books. I zoomed it in because I feel like it keeps unfocusing. I'm not really sure because my vision's like a little bit blurry. Why does it keep unfocusing? I'm almost halfway through Water Under the Bridge, and I'm loving it. It's so good so far. I love how this has to do with the environment too, and that it's kind of themed with that almost. I just really enjoy reading about it. I would say it's slow burn. It's very much enemies to lovers. So the dude in this is not actually her boss. I just like how they're like each other's match, you know? Oh my god, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Book Lovers. Okay, just imagine Book Lovers. You know how they're like each other's match, like they've met their match with each other and they both like challenge each other and make each other like do the absolute best that they could do because they're both so amazing at what they do. That is what these two main characters remind me of. I'm absolutely loving that dynamic. That's one of my favorites to read lately. Just to give some backstory on Restore Me, it is about a woman named Sloane. She was widowed at a young age, like 26. She's 26, I think. Her dead husband's best friend, she knew him like throughout her being with her husband, and they really didn't get along. Like, he was kind of just super mean to her, like, for no reason. She's like, what the heck, he like does not like me. At this point in the book, I don't even know if she realizes it, but they have met before. I don't think she does, but they have met before. The best friend of the guy who died, he literally was like in love with her, like love at first sight type of thing. Basically, this dude was willing to sweep it under the rug while she was with his best friend, because he was like, okay, they deserve to be happy together. I'm not gonna interfere, even though I love her, and I'm just gonna let them, you know, be them, and I'm gonna like be a jerk to her to like, I don't know, cover up the fact that I like her and like not make it obvious. And now he doesn't want anyone else to be with her, because he's like, I want to be with her. But she's all confused because she's like, don't you hate me? It's a little weird. And she's also like, feels like betrayal, you know, like they're both really struggling with the betrayal thing, which I could definitely see that angle. It's just kind of a crazy situation. There's just a lot of tension and angst and yearning, and just like years of him wanting to be with her but not being able to, not letting himself, and now everything's changed all of a sudden. Both of these books are pretty spicy. I highly recommend both of them so far. I just finished listening to the audiobook of Restore Me. The ending was everything I wanted it to be. It was so good. That book definitely felt pretty long. The reason why it felt pretty long for me is because it just had like so much spice in it, and I haven't really been in like a spice mood as of late, so I was just like skipping everything, and then so I was like, wow, this is kind of taking a long time. I have been filming this video and like thinking about this video and having it in my mind like, oh, I have to read these books for just like so long now. First of all, if your love language is physical touch, or if you just like really like spice, I think that this book is for you, because I'm sometimes in like a spice mood, sometimes I'm not. Right now, like I wasn't, or like while I was reading this book I wasn't really, but there's so much. That was a big part of the book because of the concept of the book, and like how she's just like, he's like breathing life into her again, like she's feeling like a person again. This book has some of the craziest like yearning ever. He really does just care about her so much, so the whole, like he's literally in love with her throughout the whole thing, and there's no, like, it never starts off with him just like not being completely in love with her. So I do feel like that felt like a little bit insta-lovey from his point of view, just like a little bit, but I feel like there was so much tension and back and forth between the whole book that it really built it for you, so that there was still like a story there, like it was still building the relationship, and it was like satisfying. It wasn't just like, oh, they're in love, blah, blah. One more book to go, and not even a whole book. Okay, so I got a lot farther in Water Under the Bridge. I am loving this book so much, like it's flying by, and I haven't like sat down since I've been listening to audiobooks so much. I haven't sat down and just like read through a book and not been able to stop reading it for like a bit, so it feels so good to be doing that again. Luca works with this big company, and it's called ORO, and it's like an environmental like company that helps clean the ocean and like just conserve the environment basically. Avery applies for a job, and like this woman that she like built this company from the ground up that she looks up to so much, that's who she's applying to get the job. But she kind of like meets Luca in like this like kind of awkward situation. She doesn't realize that he's like a part of like high up in the company, and she literally has to interview in front of him and the woman that she looks up to. But she ends up getting a call, and it's a rejection from him. They end up meeting at a bunch of environmental events because she starts to work with this like startup company. Yeah, I recommend it so far. I'm gonna keep reading and I will get back to you. It's the next day. Let's get reading. I'm just gonna continue where I left off for Water Under the Bridge. I'm almost done with it. I love it so much. I have this much left. I think I'm gonna finish it tonight. I'm really, really loving it. This is one that I would definitely recommend to people. This is definitely like workplace competitive enemies to lovers romance. That's like the best way that I could sum it up. It's really working for me, all of it. Although, how the hell is a coffee maker $50,000? How? Does that exist? Like, actually? I actually want to look up if that exists, because that's insane. Like, I don't know how that, let me look it up. $50,000 coffee maker. I'm actually tearing up. Now I'm imagining like maybe that's what the coffee maker looks like in the book. Let me show you. There it is. Wow. You know what? At least it's free shipping though. Guys, I just finished Water Under the Bridge. I feel so accomplished right now. It just took me so long to film this video that this was like such a big moment for me. And I ended on a great note because I love this book. This book is very unique in its own, but I'm just gonna say some books that it reminds me of. So like if you like that book, I feel like you could like this book. And some of those are The Fine Print, Book Lovers, also Beach Read. I feel like I've already talked about this book kind of a lot because I've talked about it throughout this video, but I love the two main characters. I love their dynamic with each other. Yeah, this is just a great, really solid read. I would recommend it, and great way to finish the video. And I'm happy that I got through this video because I was quite scared, honestly, to do this whole concept. I was really afraid of like having to read certain books. I don't know if I would have picked up these books if I wouldn't have had them like on the list of books that I randomly picked out. So that's kind of cool because I have been wanting to read these books for a while, and like this got me to read them. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more book videos like this, and I will see you in the next one. And by the way, I wrote this literally right as I was reading it. It's like, these are fresh thoughts. I don't know if I could have let go of Jesse like that. The fact that he was alone for 2 years of it, just on a damn rock. I can't believe this dude was literally living on a rock for 2 years. That kills me. Like, that's bad. I said, how did he not go completely insane? The fact that he was just thinking of her kills me. I literally feel so bad for him. I'm sad. And I love Sam too, and I agree that he's right for her at this point in her life. But it's devastating to think about how the moment in her life that took away the constant that was Jesse led her to crave more constants and find beauty in everyday things and a simple life, because that is exactly what made them unfit for each other. That is so true. When I was reading the book, I was like, oh my god, literally, she was that spontaneous person who liked to do all these things. Jesse was the same way, so they were great for each other because they both wanted the same things and they were really like living the life that they both wanted to live. But then Jesse was on a rock for like 2 years, so he did not want to stay in the same place for long at all when he saw her again. She became a person who craved more constants because that was like ripped away from her. And I think it's just so sad how this terrible thing that happened to him and her like was the thing that made them unfit for each other when they found each other again. Like that is so sad. It's just so heartbreaking. I hate that he didn't have the chances to heal because while Emma was healing, he was still unraveling and lost. So true. Jesse was literally just trying to survive. So now he has like all of this trauma when they meet again. And I just found that so sad. I just felt so bad for him. Like I really, really felt terrible for him. And I said, I'm happy Emma got to that place. It's just impossible to not instinctually feel like she needs to hold on to Jesse because he's finally back and he's alive after reading through all of her grieving. That put me through a whirlwind. In the end, I'm happy things turned out.